Hi, today we are going to do Julia Child's famous meatloaf. Watch. This is Julia Child's meatloaf. There are different variations through the years. Today I'm using 2 pounds of beef and pork ground combo, and instead of the thyme, I'm using 1/4 of a teaspoon of poultry seasoning because my thyme is stale and I have to get some new thyme or fresh thyme, which I don't have today. So that's just making do with what you have. And so I split this recipe in half because this is for like almost like 2/3, because it's not 3 pounds, it's 2 pounds. So I use still a teaspoon of dried oregano, a teaspoon of paprika. I do a 1/2 teaspoon of black pepper and 1 teaspoon of salt. And then instead of 2 cloves of garlic, I use caramelized onions and garlic that I make in the oven because Julia Child told us many years ago to saute until they're brown on the stove, but you can always bake them, and that's what I did with butter and olive oil, and they were delicious. I use a 1/2 cup of breadcrumbs, and it's delicious. 2/3 of a cup of cheddar cheese, I still use that as well, and I throw in some Romano and Parmesan as well. So let me show you over here. Here is the combo, and underneath here I have 2 eggs. And then here are the caramelized onions. This is the cheddar with the Parmesan and the Romano. And then this mixture here, this is the breadcrumbs with all of the seasonings that we saw just a minute ago on the paper. Everything's all ready. This was prepped last night. So all we have to do is mix this together. So get your breadcrumbs and all of your spices, and they are all in there. And then you get your cheese. Throw that in too if you want. You can do it in any kind of order that you want. Of course, there's some wine here. Julia liked to have a glass of wine, so I'm having a 1/2 glass of wine. And then, of course, the onions, and they're stuck, so I have to get a spoon. I don't have a tripod, so we'll just fast forward. There we go. These caramelized onions are basically, it's 2 sweet onions chopped up with 6 cloves of garlic smashed with your fingers. And you cook them for an hour at 375. I don't cover it. I just uncover it, keep it uncovered, and then I toss them every 30 minutes. And you get these beautiful, my whole apartment smelled like onions and garlic, but real caramelized. Look at it, it's like a paste. That's gonna give so much richness to the meatloaf. And I am not by any means a food snob. If you want to do shortcuts and you want to use dried onions, you can be my guest. They will work, not as well as these. And actually, if you use real onions without anything processed, it's actually cheaper in a way as well. But again, if you want to use Lipton onion soup mix, you can do that. But when you do Julia Child's recipes, I pretty much follow the recipe almost to a T, with the exception of some of the meats. But through the years, I know a lot of people use their hands, but I like using a spoon because I'm filming. So let's fast forward to after I mix all of this and put it into a buttered loaf pan. Okay, hold on. Because the onions are so rich for moisture, some people use milk and whole fresh breadcrumbs. You can do that, but I use a 1/4 of a cup of Argentinian Malbec, and this gives it a nice little, kicks up the flavor and the moisture. Okay, Put some bay leaves on top and cook it for an hour and a half at 350 degrees. The last 30 minutes, take the cover off and cover it with your favorite sweet sauce like ketchup or maybe a little barbecue sauce with some mustard. I just use ketchup on top for that little sweet flavor, or you don't need to use ketchup. And then you could make a wine reduction sauce or a gravy and have it with gravy and a mashed potatoes or baked potato or rice or whatever you want. I love having green beans or cabbage with mine. It's gonna be delicious. It's delicious.